Okay. All right. So I just want to talk about theoretical orientation of what we've been saying from something that Catherine Miller says in the text. Okay, what do we mean by theoretical orientation? What do you understand by that? Because I know I've used it before, and I'm hoping that you've understood what I'm talking about. Nobody asked me, what do you mean by theoretical orientation? What do I mean by it? Well, what do you understand by it?
I guess I kind of think of like this stance that the theory is coming from, or that the theory can be applied to.
Yes, exactly. It is the explanation based on the data or based on the argument of what is understood by a particular situation. So it gives us what are called a priori positions, the things that the starting points, the places that we're coming from. Theory is also meant to be predictive in that because of the particular understanding that we have of a scenario, we should be able to apply it to another situation and predict what might be the outcome, right? So let me just read from this Catherine Miller text, something that I wanted to share with you. So one of the things that we were talking about in terms of communication during crisis is the fact that there's this need to communicate from the top, as it were, decide what the problem is or help define what the problem is, talk about the resources, decide how the resources need to be shared, and also, as Rachel was saying, take feedback and understand the situation. So Catherine Miller says this, and I've put a couple of quotes here, a couple of lines. How can I? Sorry, I'm just shifting things around. So she says this, during particular change, a wide array of organizational participants be informed about the change and feel they are part of the decision-making process. So this is about the capacity to cope with change, and the management, the leader or leaders in particular, are seen as clearly understanding the organizational problems, supporting the change effort, so being in support and not against the efforts that are required, and also able to deal with the crisis. So I think we actually came up with all of those, did we not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Did we come up with all of them? I think we did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, besides maybe clearly understanding the organization's problems. But maybe.
I think when we say define the problem though, as I was saying, that's understanding the problem. So, and the resources, of course. I think understanding the problem and understanding the resources is an indication of understanding the problem. You understand, understanding the organization and the problems. What can be done? What capacity do we have to do something? And you know, you get those crisis situations or kind of day-to-day working situations where the ideas are great, but you know you don't have the resources to do them. I think that's a constant kind of problem within communication and organization. Has anyone got any experience of that? Can anyone give us some examples of that kind of thing? What might be the problems? What might be the problems in terms of dealing with a situation as a leader? What might be the hurdles?
You may not like be clearly understood because of the, I suppose, like the jargon that you use, or the assuming that to end up being the leader, you may have had to go through more rigorous training and move past certain things like the people that you're leading may not be able to like understand exactly what you mean by what you're saying.
But what is jargon for you? What purpose does it serve?
Well, it's supposed to, I suppose, like get people who are in a particular field, like just it's words or phrases that in that particular field like have meaning, so you don't have to, I don't know, use 10 words to explain something that everybody supposedly in the field should be able to understand in like one word.
Right.
Of this like jargon.
Can I say that for you in a different way? That it's technical language, and therefore it refines very specific parameters and tasks and possibilities through the communication process.
Yeah.
Yes.
So much better.
No, it's not better, it's just different. So it's just defining, the jargon is defining. Also, as you're saying, it can be a barrier because people understand what is required differently. They may not be able to comprehend the jargon because they aren't at the same kind of technical level, but would it not be the leader's responsibility to be able to translate that?
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
Yeah. So we have some ways in which, you know, communication could be problematic where jargon is concerned. But I was asking a slightly broader question about the ways in which a leader may have problems in actually dealing with an organization, dealing with a crisis. So jargon may be one of them. What other things? Let's have two more.
Dr. Shepherd?
Yes.
I don't know, I kind of have a problem with the concept that the leader may have a problem with the jargon, because if the leader is operating within the organization, he or she should know the jargon within the organization, or even within the department or the field that they operate from.
Yeah,
so
I wasn't actually saying though that the leader has problems with the jargon. I was saying that it's the leader's responsibility to translate the technical language, which is refining of a particular, you know, communication parameter of a problem and resources and all of that kind of
break it down. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
There's a response in the chat.
Oh, there is. Okay. How do I get to it? Where am I? Are you seeing me? Are you seeing my cursor moving on the screen by chance?
No, but it might be at the bottom where it says more with the like 3 dots.
I think I'll just, oh, here we go. Yeah. How do I get to, oh, where's the chat? Okay.
I think when you're sharing screen, it may be to the top.
Yes, I'm seeing it at the top, but I'm not seeing how to get to it. I think I may have to unshare to see the chat.
Okay, so I'll just say it out. I wasn't sure if my mic was working.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking when you said just now how people understand things differently, maybe they may have to make hard decisions which the rest of the organization cannot understand. It's two different perspectives.
Right, that's a very good one. Yes, so the leader may have problems carrying the organization along because of the different responsibilities. A leader may be thinking, let's say in a very general way, maybe thinking about the long-term life of the organization, and that may require, you know, people to be, they say, what's the word they use, collateral. They may actually not appreciate where the bigger decision making or the bigger vision is headed, and therefore that becomes a problem. Is that what you were thinking, Sadira?
Yes, sir. That's what I was saying.
Okay. There was one other thing I was thinking in terms of where a leader may have problems, and I kind of gave it away earlier, but I was talking about resources. The idea may be great, but the resources are not available.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
like it may not be applicable in the size of the operation. Like,
yes.
like it might be great. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's perfect. There's also the possibility that the resource may be a knowledge resource, like a lack of insight. Remember when we were thinking, when we did the lecture on groupthink, how one of the problems is not bringing in expertise in order to actually understand an issue, and then therefore because of the limited insight that someone has, they end up all thinking, you know, they end up having this kind of biased thinking. So the thinking processes may be a problem, as in terms of resource, access to knowledge, for example, access to physical resources in order to get things done, and it may be a budget or it may be something else. It may just be the kind of wrong time. We have a vision that needs to be in place because that has to be led from the top, and there may be differences of what the desirable outcome is for different people within an organization. And jargon, as we said, may be a particular aspect of communication that becomes a problem.
What about policy?
Yes, tell me.
The leader may be constrained by policy, because if there's policy that they have to operate within, that more or less forces a certain direction for maybe a particular department, right? But the leader has no choice, that this is the policy of the organization and they have to operate within that particular policy.
Yes, that's a very good point. And that policy may have superseded the leader.
Yes.
It may just be something that they've come into and had to accept. Leaders are often required to be involved at that level of policy, and maybe they can have a role in actually shaping the way things work. Now, that's a really interesting point, because it actually leads really neatly onto something else that I want to share with you. Let's do this. Oh, let me read from you, sorry, something that I wanted to read from the Catherine Miller text. So in talking about this capacity and having the ability to see the problem, support the need for the change, and be able to deal with it, have the insight. There's a line here that leadership is not limited to times of change and upheaval, and it's actually required in everyday and kind of normal organizational operations. And sometimes there are everyday operations that are kind of become disastrous or have disastrous results because of poor leadership. And she quotes two examples here. She talks about a CEO of a company, and during a company, triggered so the company, I think it's called WorldCom, and it was in 2002, and the CEO wasn't aware of the issues of technology or finances within the organization. So that's a knowledge problem. So the leader actually can't help resolve an issue because he or she has no understanding of what the problem is. And his defense in this particular case, in the criminal case against him, is that he never looked at numbers. He had people to do that for him. And he had people for that. And the people, his lawyers will say, let him down as much as anyone else. And she goes on to say, however, many stockholders and many scholars see this as a failure, not as a failure of his people, but a failure of his leadership. How do you feel about that? To what extent do you think it is the leader's responsibility to therefore have a hand in everything and ultimately take the fall, take the flak if there's a problem? Let's have somebody else. How about Misha? Is it Misha or Mika? Sorry. Mika? You with us? No? How about Talia? You following along? Am I? Yes, I'm not muted. Okay. Okay, last try. Asha, how are you? How are you this morning? Asha? Looks like it's just a small quorum of us speaking.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, so I was saying that Miller refers to, Catherine Miller in the text refers to the fact that in particular circumstances, a leader will say, you know, a problem happened because because there was a failure lower down in the organization. He or she will say, it wasn't my responsibility. I have people to look at the numbers. But scholars often say that they will not accept that it's a failure of his or her people, but it's a failure of leadership. And I wondered what you thought of that, whether you agree with the fact that a leader therefore needs to have his or her hand in at every level of the organization. That's the responsibility.
I don't always think that it's failure on the leader's part, because, well, sometimes it is, right? But you could guide persons, but it's up to the persons to, like, you know, take your advice and do what you instruct. So, I mean, you could be a great leader and you could give instructions to persons, but there would always be, like, you know, some people that wouldn't. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do, yes, I understand. I'm just letting you make your point.
Yeah, so
oh, sorry.
You could go ahead.
I was just going to add to your point that what would make a great leader then? Because the leader would need to ensure that the people know exactly what they're doing, like they understand the task that they have to do. So I think the leader might be at fault, not necessarily all the time, but they might be at fault if things go wrong in the organization.
Right. So on one hand, we're saying the leader has to take responsibility, and that is the function of the leader. And then on the other hand, we're saying you may be a great leader, but people lower down aren't really up to the mark. So how do we determine where that boundary is? What can we do? At what point do we say, you know, it's really a failure of leadership because it is his or her responsibility? And at what point do we say it's not the leader's fault, but actually it's the fault of someone else in the organization, and can we pass that to that person? Let me just take a quick pause on the question. Hi there, Greer, how are you?
Hi, morning. I'm so sorry to be so late. I had a little emergency with a elderly neighbor.
Oh dear.
It was one of those mornings. I'm like, not now. But anyway, everything is okay. She's okay. And I had no choice but to help out. So I just got really delayed. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Did you get access to the slides?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're just working through some ideas. And as you would hopefully have seen from the early slide, it's a thought experiment, meaning we're going to talk about some theoretical orientations, present a hypothesis, and then see if we can work through an analysis of the problem and determine if the hypothesis is true or not, if it works for us. So we're just talking about the relationship between leadership and communication. And of course, you can tell us lots about it at various points as you wish, and you'll pitch in.
Okay.
Please.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was actually, Greer, maybe you have a point you can add to this. I was asking, how do we determine when it's the leader's responsibility to resolve an issue and when it's fair for a leader to say some subordinate or someone else in the organization failed and therefore this problem happened? what's been your experience of it?
I feel like the first clue with that is, have we been here before or somewhere similar before? If we have, then we pretty much have an idea or hopefully have something in place or some tools in place that would allow the team or individual members, or if you are the leader and you delegate it out for someone else to be the problem solver, to solution it, because you have enough faith in your team and in that person that they will know what to do. And you don't know, to the point where you don't know necessarily what they will do or how they'll solution it, but you have faith that they will do it the best that they can, because chances are they have more experience or they've been through it before or whatever.
Right.
And you can trust in that process. I mean, delegation is trust, so you have to be able to trust to delegate and delegate to trust. The other thing I think is, if it's a brand new problem like a pandemic,
yeah,
and no one's necessary, your team is out of their league, and you kind of have to take an audit of your team as well. If you're lucky enough to have a team that has been through something similar, some kind of outbreak or something, then good for you. But definitely, if it's something that no one, Bowen, I think, has something to say on this, fantastic.
Sure.
But definitely, I think if you know that you yourself, as a leader, as well as the team and the majority of those teams surrounding you, have not been through anything like this before. Yes, I think brainstorming for sure, but I think at the end of the day, you don't know. It's all the decisions you make going forward is a risk, because it's the first time you've ever had to make a decision through this. Right. And the leader should take suggestions, take opinions, take ideas, listen to the temperature of your team, the vibes, how they're feeling. But the onus should be on you in that, okay, this is the risk we're going to take moving forward. This is how we're going to deal with this brand new situation, and let's see how it goes.
Right.
So I think it depends on experience. Take audits of your team, depend on the experience, and then be willing to take onus of the situation if you know that it's a challenging one for your team.
Right, yeah, definitely. Okay, so there is a responsibility, you're saying, for the leader to understand the abilities of the team.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, though, is it the leader's Is it the leader's fault, or the fact that the team member fell short?
Right. It shouldn't be anyone's fault. However, the leader.
Is fault the wrong word then?
Who's to blame? Who's the fault? I don't know what the right word is.
Yeah.
It's not the wrong word. It's not the wrong word. I just don't know what the better or right word is.
Right.
But the leader is a leader for a reason, and the leader has to be able to say, I'm the one that put that employee in that position. I'm the one that put you there. I'm the one that put you in the line of fire, or I'm the one that entrusted in you. And so perhaps that was not the right decision for whatever number of reasons, right or wrong. And take onus of that. I'm the one that decided not to make the decision myself, and I'm the one that decided not to choose anyone else but you to go forward with this. So the onus is on me.
Okay. So maybe we could hear from Bowen. What was your idea, Bowen?
He had his hand up.
Yes.
Yeah, actually I had a question, but it was clearly answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was answered. It was answered.
Okay. And I see Misha's put something in the chat saying it's the leader's responsibility. So I think we're falling, somewhere in the middle. No, I can't say that. But in terms of taking a temperature of the room, whether people think it's the leader's responsibility and there has to be greater onus on the leader, or if you can, say I've delegated it and therefore this person fell short. It's not an easy thing though to determine, I think.
No.
Yeah.
Not easy by any means. I think that, I don't know if you touched on that difference between a leader and a manager. A manager should be a leader. A leader is not necessarily the manager. But in both cases, especially as a manager, I actually think as a supervisor, as the head of a team, your job is actually to make sure that your team has what they need to do the job that you are requiring them to do. Not to manage them or tell them what to do or show them what to do, but to make sure that they have the tools that they need so that when I ask them to do something, they have, you know, everything they need to be able to get it done.
Yes, yes. Good point. Yes. So actually, Bowen did mention this idea of a manager. So we differentiated between manager and I guess by virtue of that supervisor and leader, or, you know, someone, you know, at another level of response, who has a different kind of responsibility. Yes. So, so that came up. Okay, Great. Are you able to access the chat, or does it, or am I?
Yeah, I'm seeing the chat and I can monitor it, so we're good.
I just want to make sure, students, are you all taking notes of the kinds of things that we're talking about? Because it's important to keep these notes, because you're going to be doing some breakout work in a little bit. We're coming up to that. That would be really useful. All right. So as I was saying to them, theoretical orientation is this particular idea. So that we're starting with certain understanding, and Catherine Miller gives us this about change and how to cope with change and the responsibilities of a leader during a change process. Something else she says is that we can have bottlenecks in leadership, or sorry, bottlenecks in decision making. And she cites, or she talks about the US Congress, often blamed on failure of a leadership. Thus, it is important to consider the ways in which we have come to understand leadership in organizational contexts. So there's this situation with politics that has a particular kind of testy relationship with what is my responsibility as a leader, and what can I possibly do if, you know, things aren't working out. And let's just have a look at this next slide. Okay, I'm having to expose my notes because I didn't realize I couldn't load the screen. Okay. All right. So I actually want to have us watch this video. I'm really fiddling with Zoom here. I'm struggling a bit with it. In order to show this video collectively, I need to open it on another tab, don't I?
You might be able to show it right in there. If it's not something too detailed, it's okay if we're, okay, no. You didn't link, did you link the video to that?
I uploaded it. I loaded it in the PowerPoint. I thought I had.
Okay. Yeah, it might be best to do it in a different tab then, like a whole separate tab, because Zoom is iffy with that.
Okay, let me do that.
A question though, when you said share screen, did you tick the little thing to say show video?
Oh, can I do that here?
You have to kind of come out and go back in again. You're probably going to have to do that anyway if you're going to go to another tab to show the video. So that's okay. But when you, so stop sharing. And then when you hit share again, there's two little buttons at the bottom. Like optimize for video.
Oh.
After you click share screen.
Oh, after I've clicked shared screen. So I have to.
Yeah, sorry. After you click share screen, but before you select the tab with the video.
Okay, so I need to put it into YouTube, don't I? Open that.
Yeah, get your YouTube ready.
Okay, let me do that. This is a bit of a nightmare, I think. But anyway.
Okay, so you have your time is gonna run out.
Right. Yes, it's already run out once.
Oh, it did it? Oh crap. Okay, that's okay. So everybody knows to just jump back in. No love lost. Okay, we're good.
Okay. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to share screen.
Yeah.
On the new tab. Here we go.
So you click the box.
Oh God.
When you click, it looks like it might work actually.
Okay.
You probably did.
Okay, so let's have a look at, so here's my point. Let's have a look at this video. I just want us to watch 1 minute of it because we're exploring now the relationship, another kind of relationship between a certain kind of leadership and communication and responsibility.
Okay, yeah. So, you need to stop share because we're not going to hear it. We're hearing it through your computer, so we need Zoom to let us hear it by the video. So when you click screen share, share screen, sorry.
Yeah.
Before you do anything else, there's two boxes at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
One says optimize.
It says advanced sharing options.
Yeah. You should just be able to click and put 2 ticks in it or turn the box blue or something like that.
Multiple participants can share simultaneously?
No. So once you click, let me see. Once you click screen share, oh no, I can't practice it. Once you click share screen.
Let me just pause, sorry, I'm just gonna